What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Joe Grizz, and today we're going to talk about the essential pieces of gear that I take into the backcountry for backpacking and camping. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn notifications on so you don't miss out on any of the cool videos that we have coming out. We have a lot of amazing content we're about to drop on this channel, so stick around. So the first thing I want to talk about is my backpack. This is a ULA Catalyst, and it's a tried and true company out of Utah. They're awesome, super lightweight, and has all kinds of storage. It has these big pockets on the side. You can put 2 water bottles in and you can get to them while you're hiking, which is amazing. It has a massive mesh screen in the back. It's a great place to put anything wet that you need to dry out during the day while you're hiking, like dirty socks, maybe, that they need to air out. And this is a place that you could put that stuff, you're not gonna lose it. The bag is just a single drop, and it has a nice hydration bladder inside in case you wanna use a water bladder. Love this thing. Can't tell you how many hundreds of miles that I have on this pack specifically. It's over 10 years old and it's still trucking. Let's get into the different gear that you're gonna need and why I bring these specific items with me. So the next thing up to talk about is gonna be the sleep system. Picking out the right sleeping bag for your climate and the right mattress that's going to be comfortable for you is really important. If you're in a cold area, you may want something like this Cooey bag. It's a 0-degree down bag and it's gonna keep you nice and warm. If you're out here in Georgia in the summertime, you might want something a little bit lighter so you're not gonna overheat at night. If you're just getting into backpacking, camping, synthetic sleeping bags are gonna be a lot cheaper. They're just gonna be a little bit heavier, so that's the only thing you gotta compromise. The next important part of your sleep system is going to be your mattress. And there's several different options on the market. You can go with something like this closed cell foam mat. This is a lightweight mattress that is fairly comfortable and cannot pop. So if you're laying down on any type of ground that might have sticks or briars or exposed spikes from other plants, this guy is gonna be your friend. If you're looking for something that's a little more plush and with a little bit more comfort, you can go for one of these nice Thermarest air mattresses. These new pads are super light. They're really thick and they're very warm. The only drawback is that if they deflate in the middle of the night, you're gonna be cold and you're gonna be miserable. So keep that in mind, depending on where you're going and what kind of camping that you're gonna do. If you guys are interested in doing primitive camping, I recommend bringing a little bit of a foam pad as a backup to keep you dry and warm off of the leaves. So now that we got the sleep system done, let's talk about water. As you guys know, we boiled all of our water in the swamp because that's the most effective way to sanitize, but it's not always the most practical way, especially if you're just out for a hike. So let's talk about the different water systems that I've used that work for me. The first up is something called Aqua Mira. You can buy this at REI or any outdoor retailer. It comes with a couple of bottles. You mix these two up, follow the instructions. It goes into your water bottle that's filled with creek or river water and sits for about a half an hour, and then it's safe to drink. I've never had an issue using this. It's always worked for me. It's lightweight and no moving parts. Another option is going to be more of a conventional water filter. Now this is a really cool filter from Sawyer. It has lots of different parts involved with different bladders. So these can go inline in your water bladder and filter as you drink, which is really, really convenient. The only drawback to this type of filter is that occasionally it'll clog and you need to back flush it. So don't forget when you're out in the backcountry to bring your back flush tubing with you. It's super light, just put it in the pack and make sure that you have it. An awesome thing about these Sawyer filters is they will screw onto any standard water bottle head like this, like a soda, any of these platypus style water bags. You fill this up with dirty water and you can literally just squeeze this into your mouth or draw it out through a straw. So that's really convenient for filtering. These systems are also designed to gravity hang. So if you have a large enough bladder, you can put it in line and let the filter do the work for you. Hang it up and you have clean water in just a few minutes. This is an old tried and true piece of kit that served me well on the entire Appalachian Trail hike. This thing's 15 years old and still kicking. All it is a big water reserve, okay? So you go down to the creek to your water source, dip this thing and fill it up, bring it back, and you have a bunch of water that you can either treat, filter, or just use to cook with. It's just convenient to have it there, you know? And this thing weighs absolutely nothing. All right, guys, now that we got water done, let's move on to shelter. So this is one of my favorite pieces here. This is an ultralight tarp and it's huge. You wouldn't believe it. This thing's 13 feet long. It's amazing and super, super simple to set up. It's all rigged and this is one of my favorite pieces that I take with me if I'm gonna be tarp camping. Perfect. You can sleep 2 people under this and it weighs about a pound. I mean, you can't argue that. That's pretty amazing. If you're gonna be in an area with bad mosquitoes, a lot of bugs, maybe some wildlife that you don't wanna contend with, Using an ultralight tent is also an awesome choice because it's going to give you a little bit of security, and it's also going to be a perfect barrier away from all those insects at night. So if you want to have good sleep while you're out, you ought to look into a nice ultralight tent. Pick yourself up a good set of stakes. I love these MSR groundhog stakes. They're almost indestructible. I mean, you could basically hammer these things into a rock. I actually had a friend of mine that ran one over in his truck and it was bent and I couldn't bend it back. Like, that's how strong these are. Buy them once, have them for life. They'll serve you well. Okay, let's talk about one of my favorite parts of the entire experience, cooking. So we have some stoves that I want to go over today. There's a couple different mentalities here. This stove is a Jetboil. It's designed to be wider so that you can cook soups, stews, you can boil water extremely quickly with one of these stoves. It screws onto a canister and will make short work of all of your heated water needs. Highly recommend. These stoves are super user-friendly and easy to set up, so don't be intimidated. It's a good investment. Next up on the list is something that I prefer. This is a little bit lighter of an option and it gives you a little bit more flexibility. So what we have here is a pot stove system, right? We have a nice little pot with a hanger on it. So this guy can be hung over a campfire. Kind of nice in case you run into any difficulties with your equipment. So this is an awesome little stove from MSR. It's Pocket Rocket, and essentially this little guy screws onto a canister and will light up in wind, rain, any adverse weather. It boils your water extremely quickly and it has just been an awesome lightweight, ultralight companion to my setup. So you can see easily that this pot will sit right on top. It can accommodate a much larger pot if needed, and it will boil that water in no time. The cool thing about these stoves is that you could put a pan on them or a larger pot, whereas the Jetboil, you're stuck with the pot that they gave you. So it's not quite as efficient with fuel. You might have to take an extra can with you, but the stove is very lightweight, so kind of makes up for it. I wish people still like the white gas stoves. I have a couple of those, love white gas stoves. I can't tell you how important it is to have a quality headlamp in the woods. They didn't give us any headlamp in the swamp. It was dark when it was dark at night and there was nothing that we could do about it. I love this brand of headlamps. These little Olight brand have always been extremely reliable for me. This particular style of headlamp has a tremendous battery life. I mean, you're talking about hundreds of hours in low mode. I've never had one run out. They're super, super, super bright, and I've never met anything that this headlamp couldn't handle. I've been so happy with this. It's been an amazing piece of kit. Nothing with a battery is ever guaranteed. So when I go into the backcountry, I always bring a backup light. And in this case, it's just this little clip-on light. This light is great. It has a red and a white LED, so you don't always wake up your campmates if you're getting up super early. It's lightweight, you'll never notice it's there, and it's a perfect companion to your main headlamp. In case one went out, you always have a backup, and for this application, that's critical. Keeping your sleep system dry, guys, is gonna keep you warm and happy, all right? And the best way to do that is a dry bag. So here's a few that I have here in different sizes that I generally bring out with me. From larger bags that I could put multiple items in, to kind of some smaller dry bags, and even a few down in the smaller range with that, just to help with organization. These tend to be a little bit pricey, and if you're pushing your budget, which I totally understand, you can absolutely go get yourself a contractor grade plastic bag and stick this in your backpack and put all of your items in it. It'll keep everything dry, and this only costs a couple of dollars. Self-explanatory, don't leave home without it. So let's talk about food. I like to pre-bag a day's worth of calories, and this is a hefty day's worth of calories, okay? We have Mountain House pad thai with chicken, 30-gram protein bar, that's a big boy, grass-fed beef, jerky stick, little Trader Joe's PB&J bar, dark almond chocolate peanut bar, little hot chocolate with marshmallows for that cold and chilly night. An entire bag of dried bananas with some mango slivers on the back. Delicious. So this is where I try to treat myself in the backcountry, y'all. This is these are like important little subtleties that, you know, kind of come out. Here we have some peanut butter pretzels, granola, and chocolate bar gorp. And it's sweet and savory and such a nice treat. And you get that salt, everything's good. Last but not least, a necessity, chocolate covered almonds. Come on, y'all. I mean, yeah, I'll eat those in a day for sure. I might eat one right now. They look good. they're delicious and they're good for you. So you only break the single plastic utensil that you brought into the woods one time before you run back to the store and pick up a titanium spoon like everyone else. And guys, I'm telling you what, I will not leave home without one of these, because there's nothing like eating with your hands for a few days to really make you regret the choices that you've made with your cutlery. I mean, this thing is, it's crazy. I think you could probably pick a car up with it. I mean, this thing's gonna be around longer than I am. There's no question about that. No question. Look how long the handle is too. It's perfect. It's a perfect coffee spoon, you know, everything. If you look at the spoon that I made in the woods, I really modeled it almost exactly after this, because I believe this little Sea to Summit spoon was the best spoon ever made. It's amazing. If you're bringing electronics into the wilderness, just know that those batteries don't last forever, and they have a tendency to run out sooner than you would like them to. Kind of a good idea to bring something like this. This is a nice portable solar unit. You can strap it on the back of your backpack, you can charge up a small power bank, or any other device that you need to while you're on the trail. So this can be a lifesaver, you guys, and if you're gonna rely on electronics for navigation, you need to bring backup power for them. Safety is the #1 overlooked thing of anyone that wants to go explore the outdoors. Let's talk about what I use, and maybe it has a good fit for you. The first thing that I never leave home without is my GPS with inReach communication. This allows me to text my wife from the backcountry and make sure that she knows that I'm okay, especially on extended trips. This is in places that don't have cell phone service, that are extremely remote. This can be really, really, really important. It also has an SOS feature in case I ever was in a life-threatening situation. You pay $12 a month for this, and you can push that button and a helicopter and team will start messaging you, and they will come out to rescue you if you're in danger. Countless lives have been saved by this. If you're going to do anything extreme in the backcountry, even if it's just an overnighter, this thing could save your life. So think about that. So I have a small first aid kit that I kind of made up based on the things that I know that I've needed in the woods. And in here we have some Neosporin and some NextCare skin tape. I have a little bit of clotting material. These are great. These are little towelettes you just add water to, and they turn into a full-size towel. They're great for cleaning up scrapes and, cuts. Band-aids. I have a little electrolyte, emergency electrolyte in there. Some dude wipes for cleaning up wounds and just trying to get the mud and dirt off of you. I also keep in Benadryl and Tylenol and stomach medicine and all the things that the little creature comforts in medicine that I might need, including ibuprofen for those sore muscles and Benadryl for allergies, just to name a few. So if you're heading out in the backcountry and you want to make a campfire, which I imagine you probably do, because I want one right now. Who doesn't? Campfires, they're the best thing ever. Bring a small saw with you. This is a nice little backhoe Laplander. This saw usually lives in my hunting pack for deer season to help cut branches off of trees. But it is a great saw. It's super, super well made. This saw is a bushcraft icon, and there's no reason not to bring a small saw in your kit when you're out camping. It's gonna make your life a lot easier. The next item that I always bring with me is a proper bushcraft knife. I made this particular knife. It has a Scandi ground edge, and it has a fire steel with it to help start a fire in the woods. This is a great woodworking and game dressing tool, and I will not leave home without this in my pack, every time. All these items we talked about today are very important. Some require more skill than others. Learning how to use a proper bushcraft knife in the backcountry is an amazing asset. You're gonna have a better experience in the outdoors if you have the skills to use the tools that you need. I always bring a small pair of gloves with me. These are just some of these Milwaukee work gloves. They have the rubber on them. They're sticky, they're great for grabbing onto wood. They're super, super lightweight. And these are cut proof. When you're collecting firewood and you're using a knife or a saw or other tools, this is gonna help you keep from ruining your hands. There's no reason not to pick up a pair of these, especially when you're learning how to use these. Safety first. Best 10 bucks you can spend. Bringing some cordage with you in the woods is always a great idea. If you're stringing up a tarp or you're putting up a ridge line to dry some clothes, cordage is always gonna be your friend. We got a couple different options here. I have some bank line. This is probably around a 50 to 70 pound test. It's gonna be nice and lightweight, but it'll serve that purpose of making a clothing line or holding your tarp up. You get a lot of cordage here for not a lot of weight, so this stuff is definitely cool. The other option would be something like paracord. This stuff's amazing. There's multiple strands on the inside. You can pull those out, and you can use each one of these individual strands as its own string. So with every foot of paracord, you're really getting close to 8 or 9 feet of cordage. So that's pretty crazy. This stuff is also really strong. It holds about 500 pounds on breaking strength. So if you're building a heavy shelter or you're trying to secure a heavy item, paracord, it's your friend. Now that I went over the essential gear and all the things that I would take into the backcountry, I'm gonna show you how to pack a backpack. First things first, we're gonna put in our pack liner. First item to go in is going to be the sleeping bag. Sleeping bag's in. The next thing I do, I'm going to take a dry bag and fill it full of my food, water stuff, first aid, anything that I need to stay dry that can stay together. Got our food, water purification, first aid kit, toilet paper, gloves, cordage that I may want to stay dry can stay in here too. Main headlamp can stay in. Just put my spoon in there for a good touch. Next up, I'm going to put my tent and my mattress. So the lightest pieces are going to go to the outside of the pack, towards the back, and it's going to help keep that heavier weight closer to your body. This is my sleeping pad, and this is my tent. The sleeping pad's lighter, so I put it on the back, on the outside. We put that sleeping bag in first and really press it down into the bottom of the pack. It helps it fill all the corners and condense and compress lower than if it was just in its own stuff sack. So it takes up less room and it's more efficient in the backpack itself. Cook system, outside of the pack. This can go on the outside, 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 and then this will go into a front pocket. Outside of the additional clothing that I'll be taking with me, this is everything that we need for in the inside of the backpack. Pretty good. What we're gonna do is take our trash bag, roll it up, so everything stays nice and dry. I'm gonna leave this solar charger, easy access in the back of the pack behind the mesh. I'm also gonna put this water collection container back here so that I can get to it immediately at a water source. My knife and my saw are gonna go in the side pocket that I can secure in with one of these ties and grab it when I need it. On the other side of the pack, I have a space for cordage, and tent stakes will also go into the main compartment. My GPS, which I'm going to use to communicate with my wife while I'm in the backcountry, is going to go into my front waist pocket for easy access. This other waist pocket is a perfect place to store some snacks and some munchies while you're on the trail. Last but not least, I'm going to take my backup light and I'm going to clip it in on my strap so it lives on my backpack and it's there if I need it. If you're using one of these closed cell pads, you can put it right on the top of your backpack and pull a strap over to secure it in place, and you're ready to go. That's nice and lightweight, and it is trail ready. I know this was quick, you guys, but if you have any questions or things that you would like to see in more detail, let me know in the comments below. Hit that like and subscribe, guys, and I'll see you on the trail.